Hello, thank you so much for choosing the award-winning TV station Maisha Television Kenya for this broadcast. Welcome to the authoritative, bold and incisive bulletin Maisha Prime News, which comes to you every Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. and 9 a.m. We've got a lot lined up for you, but first, coming up.
All Kenyans, do they deserve protection or just some Kenyans? Hawa wakazi wa Kibera hawajafanya makosa yoyote.
Sisi tuwasema kwamba tunamsamaha, lakini tungetaka sheria nayo ichukue mahali pake.
President William Samoei Ruto to inclusively steady the ship of state.
Call off your demonstrations. Dialogue should be way forward. Religious leaders tell Raila Odinga. Plus,
I love that you're going to the farm which was invaded yesterday, Mr. Kenyatta. Okay?
Raila Odinga visit Kenyatta's farm after goons' invasion as he condemned the act, terming it as those of a cowardice. And Kenya to intensify ties with Germany on climate agenda. Right, welcome on board. My name is Rida Kering Chibet. We kick off with a political story where ODM leader Raila Odinga has maintained that the weekly protest will continue as planned and accused the state of ensuring Monday demonstrations degenerated into chaos and death. Raila Odinga criticized President William Ruto's move to seek bilateral deals and investments in Germany for the country at this time. Bushebi Jr. is on that story.
After making true their promise to hold protests against Ruto's government, the second demonstrations held on Monday 27th by Raila-led Azimio coalition gave rise to scores of anarchy, threatening to sink the country to incoherence oblivion. Former President Uhuru's land torched, protesters shot and killed, former Prime Minister's company attacked, under threat of tribal wars. Accusations and counter-accusations continue to rock the country, with Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition leaders pointing accusing fingers at the president and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua as leaders and orchestrators of anarchy in the country.
When Azimio la Umoja called for protests in line with Article 37 of our Constitution, we never envisaged that in desperation the state will respond by hiring goons and mercenaries to rain terror on peaceful and innocent Kenyans. We know no law that allows Mr. William Ruto and Mr. Rigathi Gachagua to order Kenyans to invade other people's lands and businesses in the name of quelling legitimate, peaceful and constitutional protests.
Besides the government, Azimio coalition on Tuesday, March 28th, turned their attention to the international community and apportioned the blame for the chaos and mayhem witnessed on Monday, March 27th.
The hands of men who are goons at heart, who are pretending to be leaders and statesmen. How does Ruto go to Germany and talk about attracting German foreign investment to Kenya, knowing very well that back at home, he has put in place machinery for vicious attack on local investments.
During a press release, Azimio principal Martha Karua alleged the government had instigated the chaos.
We note the overwhelming silence of our international friends and the conspicuous absence of Ruto, who are planning with the of the Dark Monday attacks.
She then wondered why foreign nations were quiet over the matter and why they were yet to rebuke the incidents where goons invaded properties belonging to former President Uhuru Kenyatta and Azimio leader Raila Odinga.
He must be held responsible for yesterday's destruction, mayhem, arrest, injuries, and loss of life.
She further called out high-ranking government officials from Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, Kikuyu Member of Parliament Kimani Ichung'wah, and others who she said and accused of issuing threats of the attacks actualized in connivance with the police.
And Rigathi Gachagua, Kimani Ichung'wah, the National Assembly Majority Leader, and others who issued threats of yesterday's attacks, which were actualized in violent operations with the apparent connivance of the police. We say so because the Kenya police never showed up the entire day this was happening.
Ichung'wah, however, distanced himself from the allegations and stated that he was willing to cooperate with the police in investigations. The Member of Parliament stated that he would even offer his phone for analysis to aid detectives in unearthing whether he organized attacks on Northlands City.
This is an obvious act, and we want to put it clearly. This is a criminal enterprise organized, perpetrated by those who are in authority and hiring or holding senior positions in this region.
Na askari unajua ni watumishi wa umma, watumishi wa serikali. Kama mkubwa wa serikali ndio anahusika, sasa askari hawezi kuja. Mwenye umbwa hajatuma umbwa ashike mwizi. Sasa umbwa anakaa.
Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga criticized Germany and other foreign powers for hosting President William Ruto on his latest tour.
Vile tunataka kukashifu marafiki wetu wa Kenya wa kigeni. Nchi za kigeni wamekaa kimya. Wengi wao wako kwenye kitanda na Bwana Ruto na Bwana Gachagua. Hawezi kuongea. Wanachimama hata wakinaona maovu yakifanyika katika taifa letu. Ni aibu kubwa sana. Tunapenda warafiki wetu wa nje, warafiki wa Kenya wachukue msimamo katika mambo haya.
President flew to Europe on Sunday, March 26th. This was the second accusation made by Azimio towards the international community after a similar one was made on Thursday, March 23rd.
Why would foreign leaders and businesses entertain such a conflicted personality?
The rebuke from Azimio came after Ruto's government pleaded with foreign missions based in Nairobi to support the sanctioning of Azimio leaders. In a statement, the Foreign Affairs Ministry on Monday, March 21st, pleaded the government urges the international community to be vigilant in supporting the sanctioning of any conduct adverse to the peace and security of the country. End of quote. Immediately after the August 2022 general election, Raila Odinga claimed that foreign powers backed Ruto over his candidacy in fear of the former Prime Minister taming their market monopolies. For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Bushabi Jr.
Thank you, Bushabi Jr. for that story there. And moving on, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, has called for an end to pro- and anti-government protests, stressing that the protests risk destabilizing the country The commission called for dialogue between the country's top leadership and a solution to the high cost of living, as our reporter Faith Musimbi reports.
The Interreligious Council has called on President William Ruto to move with speed and prevent the country from plunging into anarchy. Leaders from the council appealed to former Prime Minister Raila Odinga to go easy on his political stance against the government and call on his supporters to be peaceful. The Christian and Muslim leaders said Ruto and Raila should have unconditional meet-up and to quell political tension in the country.
We call on one, His Excellency the President, William Ruto, and the former Prime Minister, Honorable, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, to have unconditional meet-up and discussion to quell political tension in the country. They must meet and come together and talk. We demand. Yes. As the Mio One Kenya Coalition, we call upon you to call off the demonstrations and use alternative approaches to handle your grievances.
On Monday night, the Pentecostal Church of East Africa in Kibra was set ablaze by unknown people. Masjid-e-Aqsa Islamic Mosque was also set on fire by unknown arsonists. Property including the PCEA school and homes around were damaged during the unrest. On the other hand, religious youth from different churches under the banner of National Congress of Churches of Kenya NCCK held a regional congress in Isiolo County to be enlightened on keeping peace in the country and avoiding engaging in anti-government demonstrations.
Ambao wameweza kukongamana hapa, na hamasisho katika kongamano hili ni kuweza kuelimisha vijana, kuleta amani katika nchi yetu, kuleta amani katika mikoa yetu, kuleta amani katika familia yetu. Na katika kongamano hili tunataka kuhamasisha vijana, hasa kwa wakati huu ambapo tunaona nchi yetu kuna maandamano ambayo yanafanyika, na haya maandamano tunajua ya kwamba ni vijana sana sana wanatumika kuenda kuleta vurugu na kuharibu mali na kuharibu nchi yetu.
Kisii Women Rep Doris Aburi has asked Azimio leaders to stop the ongoing protests and embrace dialogue with President William Ruto.
Maandamano tangu yanza kufanyika Kenya, watu wamefaidika namna gani? Huyu mama analia atazika mtoto, anazika mtoto hakuwa mgonjwa. Mimi ile jambo naweza ambia kiongozi wetu wa Azimio, kwa sababu niko Wiper, tuongee na if possible tujiulize nini ilifanya tukaanguka, wakati tuliona wazi njia ilikuwa imepanuliwa na sisi ndio tungepita.
The women rep said the demonstration were disrupting businesses and lives and were hurting the economy. She was speaking in Kitutu Church South constituency when she distributed food and clothes to the residents.
Wakati tulikuwa tunafanya siasa, kila mtu alikuwa anarusha maneno, wengine wanasema hivi, wengine wanasema hivi. Hakika elections zimeisha, na tukirudisha our only beloved country, turudishe country yetu into another election, kwa sababu wakati wa election umeisha, watoto wetu hawataenda shule, wamama wetu hawataenda kufanya biashara, wababa wetu ambao wanafanya matatu hawataenda kufanya kazi, vijana wetu ambao wanafanya mambo ya bodaboda hawataenda, kwa sababu wataogopa vita ambazo kusema kweli hazitaweza kuwasaidia.
The National Cohesion and Integrity Commission NCIC has demanded end to the parallel protests organized to counter those called by the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya anti-government protests over election reforms and electoral reforms.
Against the people and their property. The wanton destruction of cars, mosques, churches, etc. is not acceptable and is hereby condemned in the harshest terms possible.
Speaking during a press conference on Tuesday, Chairman Samuel Kobia stressed that only dialogue can address keep-sitting issues affecting Kenyans. He condemned the acts of disturbance and tension that escalates, destroying properties.
Such acts not only disturb the peace but also create a worry that tensions may escalate into religious conflict and even into ethnic profiling and also into hate speech. Taking the law into our own hands is a recipe for utter chaos. We as NCSC call for an immediate stop to these demonstrations and counter demonstrations and the adoption of dialogue as a means of moving our country forward is what should be taken. This is the option which is available, and it is this option of dialogue that we as
The Commission regretted that demonstrations had provided an opportunity for criminals to vandalize and destroy public and private property.
The senseless destruction of property is an outright illegal action which can only lead to more acrimony. We know that what has happened is the situation, the prevailing environment in the country has created space for opportunistic criminals to do their criminal activities.
For Maisha Prime News, Maisha Television, I'm Simbi Faith.
Right away from that, Kenya will intensify its ties with Germany in the field of climate protection, President William Ruto said on Tuesday, March 28th, during his trip to Germany, Berlin. Our reporter Mesh Musimbi prepared that story. Let's have a look.
Kenya will intensify its ties with Germany in the field of climate protection. President William Ruto has said during his trip to Germany on March 28, 2023.
The Berlin Energy Transition Dialogue provides a valuable platform to exchange ideas on how to address the two interlinked challenges we face, that is of climate and energy.
On matters climate change, the president, who is in Berlin, said the other areas of cooperation between the two countries will include the development of climate-compatible energy systems and adapting to the consequences of climate change.
What does Europe need to do to enable Africa meet its full potential as an energy and climate solution center?
Speaking during a dinner meeting hosted by Dustage Africa, Stiftung and Germany Bundestag in Berlin, Germany, President Ruto said the two countries will escalate the relationship to exploit the emerging opportunities and confront new challenges that face us.
Africa needs the right type, amount of investment capital to become the green industrial powerhouse of the world. Renewable energy investment and associated infrastructure is almost all upfront capex. With the right level of investment, Africa can provide energy success for all by 2030 while reducing total emissions related to energy generation by approximately 80%.
Earlier, during a meeting with Under-Secretary General and Executive Secretary General of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, Ibrahim Thiwei in Staglitis, Ruto noted there was need for an urgent collective action on climate change is necessary to stop this global threat to humanity.
Generate economic growth and competitiveness, but also contribute to addressing the climate crisis for humanity. There is need to face down climate incompatible funding so as to free funds for climate action and lock much more concessional finance and low risks development finance needed to be much more available, much more accessible, and much more affordable.
For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Mesh Musimbi.
The Interreligious Council has called on President William Ruto and former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga to move with speed and prevent the country from plunging into anarchy. A mosque and a church was set ablaze in Kibra on Monday night in the aftermath of anti-government protest mobilized by opposition leader Raila Odinga. The fighting between two rival gangs escalated after a series of rallies in the slum addressed by opposition leaders on the second day of mass demonstrations against the high cost of living and a victory Odinga claims was stolen from him in last year's general election. Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja said county fire engines managed to put out the fire before it could spread to residential houses. Faith Musimbi reports.
A mosque and a church was set ablaze in Kibra on Monday night in the aftermath of anti-government protest mobilized by opposition leader Raila Odinga. The fighting between rival gangs escalated after a series of rallies in the slum addressed by opposition leaders on the second day of mass demonstrations against the high cost of living and a victory Odinga claims was stolen from him in last year's election. Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja said county fire engines managed to put out the fire before it could spread to residential houses. For hours, the fighting went on in Kibra, sparking widespread condemnation on social media, where leaders and other Kenyans pleaded with the authorities to intervene. There were no immediate reports or confirmation of casualties from authorities. Monday's demonstrations were characterized by chaos, particularly in Kisumu, where at least one person was shot dead during a violent clash between police and locals who had been barred from marching to town. In Nairobi, there was massive destruction of property during an invasion of an expansive farm owned by former President Uhuru Kenyatta's family in Northlands, where animals were destroyed, trees cut down, and others set ablaze. A similar attack occurred at Odinga's East Africa Spectra Limited, a gas company that was destroyed when armed goons pelted it with stones. A section of a mosque in Kibera slums was burnt down in chaos that was witnessed in the area amid claims of sponsored thuggery. And in retaliation, a group of youth raided the PCEA church in the area and set it on fire. Several other stalls near both the mosque and church were razed down in the Monday night drama. The drama started when a group attacked a kiosk next to the mosque in Makina area, saying it was hosting a group that was sponsoring their attacks. According to the police, in the process, the group set the kiosk on fire.
Kenya, the home for all the people. Secondly, we appeal to former Prime Minister, Honorable Raila Odinga, to go easy on his militant political stance against the government and to call on his supporters to be peaceful.
Tungetaka kuanza kwa kushitumu kitendo hicho kilichotendeka hapo jana, mambo ya kuingilia msikiti, mambo ya kuingilia kanisa.
Police said the fire spread to the nearby mosque, burning a section of it before firefighters and those who had gone there to pray contained it. There had been running battles between police and the group that was targeting the kiosk. This culminated the earlier protests in the area, with some locals saying police had barricaded the slum and were not allowing anyone to leave. A huge section of the premise was razed down as youth engaged in running battles, with some trying to contain the fire, witnesses said. A fire engine arrived at the scene minutes later and managed to contain the spread of the fire. Kilimani police boss Muturi Mbogo said no fatalities were reported in the chaos. He said police were investigating the incidents. Mbogo said property of unknown value was destroyed in the incident. Tension remained high in the area overnight, with few police patrols. On Tuesday, locals were counting losses, with the victims seeking help to reconstruct the affected structures. Religious leaders in Nairobi have urged President William Ruto and Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga to hold a dialogue in efforts to avert ugly scenes witnessed on Monday, March 27th.
Hili sio jambo ambalo linastahili kuonekana katika enzi ya leo, where people have a bit of civilization. Mambo ya kuharibu, mambo ya kutumia nguvu na kufanya uhalifu sio mambo mazuri. Kwa hivyo tunahuzunika kuona hayo yamefanyika katika.
Religious leaders said it was unfortunate that political differences took a religious trajectory. Sheikh Al-Haji Olenado, the chairperson of the Supreme Council of the Kenya Muslims, said Kibra constituencies had for long lived peacefully and that politics should not be allowed to cause a rift between them.
Last night, loss of property including PCA school and homes around were disturbed by the unrest and lost property to the night inferno. Many Kenyans have woken up to this disheartening, disturbing twists and turns of events which we condemn unreservedly. Hundreds of families have faced a dark night of pain, anxiety, worry, and loss instigated by political interests and misguided agents of hooligans. It is sad that Kibra community is being dismembered along.
Tego Mtai, the moderator of PCEA who also addressed journalists in Kibra on Tuesday, March 28th, termed the torching of religious facilities in the constituency criminal. The PCEA moderator further asked Odinga to embrace legal means to resolve his grievances instead of pushing for demonstrations. The clergymen also urged media to exercise social responsibility during coverage of the protest to avert escalating the violence. The religious leaders have asked well-wishers to help the families affected by the Monday skirmishes in Kibra.
Twajua serikali inapaswa kuchukua hatua zake za kutafuta waliotenda uhalifu.
All Kenyans, do they deserve protection or just some Kenyans? So we need to see a change in policing strategy in the course of the next 2 days, because Thursday is the next date that we have for Mandamano. So we have to see protection restored to the people of Kibra.
For Maisha Prime News, Maisha Television, I'm Simbi Faith.
Right, moving on, Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei on Monday, March 27th, dispelled claims that the ruling Kenya Kwanza coalition was behind the attacks on Northland City linked to the Kenyatta family and East African Spectra Limited premises owned by former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga. In a statement, Cherargei called out Azimio la Umoja coalition for what he termed as sympathy-seeking efforts. The outspoken senator further accused Azimio leaders of sponsoring the attacks to paint a picture of anarchy in the nation. Right, folks, let's take a short commercial break. Stay tuned for more news.
To get yanayoshangaza as your skiza tune, send 570-6820 to 811.
Three young people who scored more than 350 marks from poor families in Lamu County.
They said it is time to put political differences aside.
The CS further lauded the efforts of police officers in the last 100 days.
The leaders affirmed their party has a close relationship with the president.
This is the place where it all happened. The stories that continue to change our country.
And at present, we have got one student who is now at a BBC World Service working.
These are the faces we see.
Business studies.
Is Madam Susi Masaba.
Walter Musolo, Shem Bilembo.
The voices we hear.
Glad you're tuned in. You're still tuned in to Maisha TV. Now every day here on Maisha Prime News, we air feature from different schools across the country
that have revolutionized societies through education. This is who we are. One channel, one bulletin. Masomo News Live. Join us every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. for Masomo News Live, exclusive to Maisha TV.
Tarbo School Eldoret is an outstanding boys' high school ideal for learning. Located in a quiet and serene environment in Tarbo Town, Uasin Gishu County, the school aims to produce highly qualified students who will readily be admitted to world-class high institutions of learning and graduate into outstanding citizens of integrity. We offer quality education in conformity with the Ministry of Education standards and guidelines. Our tutors are highly qualified and experienced. Founded and grounded on Christian values, discipline is one of our fundamental values. The school registered exemplary performance in 2022 KCSE examinations with a mean of 9.87. We boast of the state-of-the-art facilities such as spacious classrooms, well-equipped library, science and computer laboratories, and dining hall. Do you want to start building your prosperous future today? 2023 intake for Form 1-2 is on. Call us on 0701 453 179, 0701 453 179, or send us an email to tarboschool@gmail.com. Our postal address is PO Box 43 3106, or visit our school along the Eldoret Bungoma Highway. Tarbo School Eldoret, born to lead. Bushangala Technical Training Institute wishes to inform students who have completed their studies and are scheduled to graduate to visit the institution for clearance.
We would wish to hold a graduation. We are planning to hold a graduation for our students who have completed, but we would like to make an appeal that they come to college to do clearance, so that they are ready for the graduation.
Welcome back. You're watching Maisha Prime. My name is Rida Chibet-Kering. African Union Commission Chairperson Moussa Faki on Tuesday, March 28th, expressed his concern at the violence that ensued after Azimio's public protest in various counties. In a statement sent by the Addis Ababa-based organization, the chairperson decried the loss of life, damage to property, and the interruption of economic activities in the city, that is Nairobi. He called for calm and urged all stakeholders to engage in dialogue to address differences between political players in the supreme interest of the national unity and reconciliation with regard to the subversions raised against the conduct of the August 2022 general election. Maisha Faki reiterated that the exercise was a success and was later confirmed by the Supreme Court after the petition by the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition. Right, moving on, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, has launched investigations into the alleged failure of the police to protect properties owned by former President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga. In a statement, IPOA chairperson Anne Makori revealed that there was a possibility that the police did not execute their mandate in accordance with the law during the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party protest. The authority is investigating 3 shooting incidences in Kisumu and Migori, which led to the loss of 2 lives and injury to 1 protester. Let's have a look.
Wale watu waliweza kuingia hapa sio watu ambao sisi tunawajua. Na sio watu ambao walikuwa wametoka hapa. Hawa watu walikuwa wametoka Bari. Wakaletwa hapa na mabasi, wengine wakakuja na gari za kibinafsi. Kwa hivyo ni watu ambao walikuwa wametoka Bari, sio watu wa hapa.
Jambo ambalo limefanya hewa hapa iwe
kwa sababu
Mount Elgon region has for years been reporting cases of early pregnancies, and through these, the young people from the non-governmental organizations, that is the youth from Silver Shield and Elgon Center for Education, have emerged to educate students about early pregnancies.
The Mount Elgon region has been reporting high number of early pregnancy cases. Through these, youths from non-governmental organizations of Silver Shield and Elgon Center for Education, led by Juliet Malaho, have engaged in educating students about early pregnancy. In a meeting that involved students from Toroso High School, the organizations have offered training techniques on how to deal and cope up with such cases together with illegal alcohol consumption.
My name is Silva Julie Malaho. I'm the director, Silver Shield organization, and today we've decided to come to Mount Elgon region to talk about issues affecting students, that is teenage pregnancies, gender-based violence, and also stress and depression. We've decided to come to Mount Elgon because it's one of the most affected counties in Bungoma County. So today is just but a launch, but you're going to visit more other schools in Bungoma County and also Western region.
I'm the founder and executive director of Elgon Center for Education. This is an organization that is registered here in Mount Elgon and across Bungoma region. We do promote access to education, reproductive health, and mitigating effects of alcohol and substance abuse. Mount Elgon is a place where we've had a lot of series of challenges that sometimes has affected our access to education and peace. And this also borders in terms of data that we have on high cases of teenage pregnancies, and even as recent as KDHS report 2022 that makes Mount Elgon.
According to the principal of the school, Mr. Shadrack Wanjala, they have been involving students through counseling by inviting counselors from outside.
We are trying to handle that by engaging the G&C, guidance and counseling team, internally and even externally. Like today, we have a team from Bungoma, led by Sylvia and her foundation, talking to the students about reproductive health. I want to believe the students will be able to get a lot of information that will help them carry on studies, and at the same time shunning relationships that are not fruitful.
Additionally, students have narrated that early pregnancies can be tackled by such continuous educations so that when they interact in the society, they are aware of things that surround them. However, students took the advice in a positive way while promising to protect themselves and work hard in their studies.
First of all, I've learned about early teenage pregnancy. There they talk about, we have causes of early teenage pregnancy like peer pressure. Some students will like to how the fellow students talk about, and I have learned that it is not good to follow the peer pressure of other students. I've learned more about how to take care of myself and have self-respect.
Leo nimejifunza kuja focus in education, avoiding like boy-girl relationship so that I can focus well in my education and pursue my career. Then kitu nimejifunza how to know myself and know my home that I come to school to utilize the time well and make sure that I change my home. So I just want to urge my fellows that when you are in school, please just let's focus and be confident and make sure that we pursue education and career so that we can change our home.
Reporting for Maisha Prime Maisha Television, I'm Raphael Situma.
Religious youths from various churches under the banner of the National Council of Churches of Kenya NCCK held a regional conference in Isiolo County to be enlightened on keeping peace in the country and avoiding engaging in anti-government demonstrations. Here is more.
Naelimishwa watu hawa imestikiwa hapa sawa. So tunaongea
tuko kwa kongamano ambalo limewakilishwa na NCCK na ni vijana kutoka hapa Eastern Region ambao wameweza kukongamana hapa, na hamasisho katika kongamano hili ni kuweza kuelimisha vijana, kuleta amani katika nchi yetu, kuleta amani katika mikoa yetu, kuleta amani katika familia yetu. Na katika kongamano hili tunataka kuhamasisha vijana hasa kwa wakati huu ambapo tunaona nchi yetu kuna maandamano ambayo yanafanyika, na haya maandamano tunajua ya kwamba ni vijana sana sana wanatumika kuenda kuleta vurugu na kuharibu mali na kuharibu nchi yetu.
The members that are here, they are going to spread the gospel that we've received today. In fact, we've learned a lot. We've been enlightened about matters that concerns our country, some of the things that happened during our independence, and those are some of the keys that are being big issues today.
Ni kwa sababu tukizungumza mambo ya amani, wale watu hutumiwa kuleta vurugu na wanasiasa sana sana ni vijana. Watu wa umri wa ujana ndio wanaochukuliwa na wakatumiwa vibaya kwenda kufuruga amani, kwenda kwa maandamano. Na kama wakati kama huu ambao kuna mwito wa maandamano kila Jumatatu, vijana wetu watachukuliwa waachishwe pale wangepata riziki ya haki ambayo iko na heshima, watumue katika kuharibu mali ya wengine na kuleta fitina na fujo kwenye miji yetu.
Right, folks, as we take our second commercial break, I leave you with a feature prepared by Bushebi Jr. on whether there will be a handshake or a truce between President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga. Enjoy the feature.
Since August 2022 elections, President William Ruto and opposition chief Raila Odinga have maintained hardline positions, dismissing a possibility of a cooperation deal.
I think we need to get to a point where Raila Odinga also needs to say the same thing. The election did not go the way I wanted. Let's now move to the next step. How do you want me to represent you as an opposition leader? We need to move away from the last election. We cannot keep claiming that election was stolen. I was in the government side from 2017 to 2022. There is nothing that Ruto did that we did not try to do. He just did it better than us. And I think sometimes it's important to give credit where it is due. The odds of Ruto becoming president in the circumstances in which we were operating were very, very low. He made it. He's going to be president for 4.5 years as we speak.
Counter accusations from both camps have left the country in limbo on what to expect from both President Ruto and the Azimio leader.
Hawawezi kutupeleka katika priorities zao, ya vyeo yao, ya biashara zao, ya mambo ya familia zao.
Ndugu yangu mdogo Kimani Ichung'wa, asante sana. Mumekubali mchukue hii jukumu ya kung'ang'ana na hiyo mzee kutoka kwangu. Mimi nikae na rais tusukume maendeleo. Sasa wewe Kimani Ichung'wa na Dende na wale wengine akina Haramat, Tongoyo, ile group yetu ilimalizana na Azimio na ikamalizana na system na deep state. Hakuna bahali imeenda. Sasa the chairmanship of Kimani Ichung'wa, hiyo team uamshe haraka.
Kwanza tunataka Commonwealth Secretariat na United Nations itume inspectors hapa Kenya. Sio Bwana Ruto, tumeelewa vizuri. Within the next 2 weeks, la sivyo wa Kenya watachukua hatua yao wenyewe.
The president on his side maintained that Raila Odinga will never have a piece of his government through a forced handshake.
Wakafanya ukarabati sijui nini, wakapata cooperation. Wakakuja tena wakafanya ukarabati sijui gani, wakapata nusu mkate. Wakakuja wakakoroga uganga na ukora, wakapata handshake. Hii hawapati.
This has not gone down well with Azimio leader, who came out to clear the air on the matter, claiming that he is not seeking any form of negotiation with President Ruto.
Juzi mliona Bwana Ruto na Bwana Gachagua, hii mambo ya maandamano tunajua ni nini? Tunaambia Bwana Ruto, wewe hujui sisi. Hujui sisi. Kuanaliza Bwana Nyayo. Baba yako kuanaliza Bwana Nyayo. Hujui sisi.
The former premier even went ahead to organize his second no handshake rally at Jacaranda ground. However, pundits of governance and political analysis argue that either way, a consensus has to be reached between the two leaders, even if it meant a handshake.
50 million Kenyans right now are worried about the cost of living. That is not the primary conversation you're hearing when you tell us to go out and have demonstrations or have mass action. Because let's be honest, these calls for barazas are ultimately meant to end in mass action. We are looking for sympathy. We want the police to come to the streets up against their brothers and sisters who are their fellow Kenyans who are civilians and have a violent engagement.
With Raila Odinga leading the opposition troops in castigating and claiming the August 9th elections victory, political gurus insist that President Ruto has to reach out to Raila Odinga. The president has gone ahead to condemn the Azimio rallies, saying that they were being financed by unnamed people who have and want to continue evading paying taxes.
Even if they sponsor demonstrations so that they don't pay tax, I want to promise them they will pay tax. There's no more exemption. This country is not the animal farm.
Some Kenya Kwanza leaders have gone ahead to drag the name of the former President Uhuru Kenyatta as the sponsor of the Azimio rallies across the country.
Na Steve, usijali huyu watu wanapiga mdomo, acha wapige bana. Unajua mtu ambaye hana kitu kingine ya kufanya lazima apige mdomo. Acha wapige mdomo. Hiyo ni dunia. Sisi tunaendelea na yetu. You know, there are two types of people. There are people who talk a lot about what they will do and do nothing. And those are many. But there are people who will talk very little but do a lot and their deeds are seen.
It is yet to be known whether Ruto will reach out to Raila Odinga for fear of suffering the legitimacy baggage that his predecessor, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, suffered in the 2017 elections. With Ruto's administration seemingly lacking focus in engaging the opposition party, it only helps fuel the speculation of legitimacy, with Kenya Kwanza government falling into Azimio's trap by making it a shouting match.
Mwingine akisema ati William Ruto anataka kuteua commission ya IBC peke yake. Wewe rais haukuwa bunge tukitengeneza hiyo sheria. I can confirm all members of parliament wa Azimio walikuwa bunge tukitengeneza hiyo sheria. I was listening yesterday to one of our politicians who was alleging that members of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission went to his house.
Moi was forced into cooperation with Raila Odinga. Kibaki was forced into a coalition government with Raila Odinga. Uhuru was forced into a handshake. It is Ruto's turn. And for all we know, for all intents and purposes, Raila might actually succeed in getting Ruto to come and sit with him. But we have to ask ourselves, and then what? And then what? Are we able to sit as a country and agree that when an election is finished, it is finished?
Previously, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua affirmed that if Ruto was to sit with Odinga, the talks should revolve around his retirement strategy from politics.
Hiyo mzee hatutaki kwa serikali yetu. Na huyo mtu wacha afanye maandamano asubuhi, saa 7 jioni hakuna handshake.
Azimio, on the other hand, through Jubilee's Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni, dismissed the possibility of a political truce between Ruto and Raila, stating that the Azimio leader was in no need of a handshake with the current administration, which he called planless, illegitimate and clueless.
Tuko na serikali hapa imejaa waizi. Na wale ambao wataikoboa Kenya ni wale wachache ambao hawataangalia nyuma. Sisi katika Jubilee, nataka kukuambia kiongozi wetu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta alipokuwa naondoka alituambia kiongozi yake ni Bamba. Haro. Na kwa hivyo kiongozi yangu ni akisema ruka ninaruka, akisema twende na usigoje kitu kingine. Don't waste your time with the social media saying maneno mingi na watu wengine wapige safari. Hiyo wataenda, wakifika huko tutawakuta, tutawafurusha pamoja na hao wezi.
We want tear gas to be thrown so that the country, the world can see Kenyans have not agreed on the last election. Why? So that we can negotiate. For what? For personal positions. Recently somebody asked, today Raila's daughter is a member of parliament for Yala, sent by this government. Kalonzo's son is a member of parliament for Yala, sent by this government. So when you wake up and tell us that you do not recognize this government, what are you saying?
It remains to be seen how this plays out, given that Ruto's administration has been in power for 6 months, with the public filled with high expectations of the government, reducing the cost of living. For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, Ambusha Junior.
Like everyone else, I learn about what is going on in the world from the media. Looking at morning newspapers, listening to the radio, and watching television. New Prime Minister reached its time. A free man. It's only too easy to conclude that nothing is going right in the world. Never. Plane crashes. Earthquakes. Volcanic eruptions. Rats. Wars. have problems. But we need life to go on, to go on. Stand up, everything that we know is right, so that we can show the world that we are not afraid of the future.
Marker, take 3.
We're here to make your day. This is Maisha TV. Of course, the fastest growing TV station and the award-winning channel you can't miss out on educating, entertaining and informative shows. Women Talk, The Drift, Love Honse, S Sample, Sos Mi Vida, Masomo News Live, Prime News, Maisha Kids, MTV Summons, music shows, politics, leadership and governance and many more. It's all here. On StarTimes we are on channel 108, GOTV 808 and all free-to-air decoders. Social media too as Maisha Television Kenya. You know what? Just choose it, watch it and love it. Why worry about where to spend your luxurious time in a special environment? Enjoy great food and comfort. Darel Paradise is one of Kenya's gems located in Bungoma County in Bumula. Darel Paradise is where you relax and enjoy, endowed with ample parking space, serene environment, dine and wine of your
Well, folks, welcome back. Glad you're still here. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching the award-winning TV station, Maisha Television Kenya, and this is Maisha Prime News. And now, let me usher in our education segment. Established in 1966, St. Cecilia Nangina Girls High School, located in Funyula Sub-County in the larger Busia County, has been one of the most admirable extra-county schools, enrolling thousands of students in the western and other parts of the country.
My name is Mrs. Victoria Lukum, Principal St. Cecilia Nangina Girls. I came to this school in 2019 from St. Agnes Shibuye Girls in Kakamega. And when I came to this school, I was happy to be part of this school. St. Cecilia Nangina Girls is found in Samia Sub-County, along Bumala, Port Victoria Road. It is a girls' pure boarding extra county school. Our school is a giant school in the sense that we have done so much. Number one, we have a population of 1835. We are a 9-streamed school, but currently our girls are in 7 streams because of lack of many other classes. But the school is doing well in terms of academics.
In academics, Nangina Girls has maintained an upward trend, leading the national schools from the county and western region at large, the milestone that has made parents to enroll their children in the institution for quality and competency skills in all fields of learning.
They do very well in geography, they do very well in home science, and they do very well in sciences. Like in computer, we had a mean of 11.7, and that was our best performed subject. And the rest of the subjects are also doing well.
Naitwa Mwalimu Makwata, mkurugenzi wa masuala ya masomo katika shule ya wasichana ya Nangina katika katuzi ndogo la Samia, katuzi la Busia. Shule hii ni shule yenye haiba kubwa ikizingatia wanafunzi ambao wamepitia hapa. Tunapata kwamba tuna taaluma nyingi ambazo zimetokana na watu kuwa kwenye shule hii. Tuna madaktari, tuna wahandisi, tuna mawakili, tuna wanahabari, tuna walimu na takribani taaluma zote ambazo tungependa kuzitaja. Shule hii aidha imekuweko kwa muda mrefu kwa sababu tayari tumesherehekea sherehe ya jubilee ya miaka 50 tangu shule hii ianzishwe. Aidha ni vizuri pia kutaja kwamba shule hii iko katika milki ya dini ya Kikatoliki, na hivyo basi mila na desturi za dini ya Kikatoliki huzingatiwa hapa shuleni, kwamba wanafunzi huenda kanisani mara 3 kwa juma.
In the 2022 KCSE examinations, Nangina Girls was among the top performing public schools in the county, sending 194 students to various public sponsored universities in the country.
Last year we had a mean of 6.5, and we are happy that those were our results. Looking at what was happening in the country, a lot of cheating, but we invested a lot in our students, and we are happy that our girls got genuine results. Our girls do very well in computer studies.
Shule hii ina walimu ambao ni wachapakazi na walimu machipukizi ambao kimsingi hujitolea kwa hali na mali kuhakikisha kwamba wamekuwepo wakati wanafunzi wanawahitaji. Na kile ambacho huwa tunanuia hasa ni kwamba tunayoyafanya lazima iwe ni muhuri kwa maisha ya wanafunzi. Na juhudi zetu kama walimu zimetuwezesha mwaka jana kupata kwenye mita ya takwimu 6.5 ambayo ni 6.5 mean, na tukirejelea wanafunzi ambao walipata C+ kwenda juu ilikuwa wanafunzi 196.
We are a total of 63 teachers. Our teachers are very much dedicated, very young, they have a child at heart, and we are very united. We work as a team, and our teachers work under minimal supervision, and I'm happy because this is one school where every other parent from Samia wants to bring their children to be part of this school. So
the modern and attractive structures in the school has given the school new phase and conducive learning environment. The recent project in progress being the multi-purpose hall with a capacity of over 2,000.
The environment is very friendly. We have cabros that we have laid to ensure that when it rains there is no mud. When it is dusty, we are not having a lot of dust around the school. And it is a courtesy fee payment of some of our committed parents. Right now, we are doing a major project of a multi-purpose hall. It is last phase on finishes, and this is a hall that can carry 2,000 students. And we know when it will be over, it is going to give the school a major facelift. We have had constructions of classrooms, and this is courtesy our parents, and the World Bank has also come in to assist us in construction of 4 classrooms and a laboratory. The ministry also gave us 2 CBC classes, and because our junior secondary was domiciled in the primary, we are using those 2 classes, and they have helped us to decongest one of the Form 3 classes.
Apart from academics, the institution shines in science and engineering, home science, music, drama, athletics, leg ball, volleyball, among others.
We have just concluded our science congress, and our students went up to the regionals. We also participated in a drama. They went to the regionals where we had a play, a solo verse, and a narrative. And then currently we are participating in games, and we are going to the regions. Our team was number 2 in basketball after Chakol girls. So we are taking around 4 teams. We have basketball, we have volleyball, we have soccer, and then we have badminton. So those teams are going to the regions in the course of the week, and we are very optimistic that they are going to do well. I want to say that we have a very supportive board of management. They are very keen on what is happening in school. Our chair is Dr. Regina Bwire, who is a lecturer at Masinde Muliro, and she has a lot of passion about the school because she's a lady, and the issue of a girl child's education is very key to her. So she visits the school even when we are not having meetings with the learners to see how far and what they are doing. This is a school that does not send students home for fees at all. And from 2019 up to today, there's no single day I've ever sent students home for fees. We only struggle with the little that they pay through fee reminders. But I think 2023 is a hard year for everybody, because even when I call my colleagues, they're like, parents are not paying fees. And so at least when they came from half term, it forced us to remind parents to pay fees.
In the 2023 KCSE examinations, Nangina Girls has an academic plan of achieving a mean of 7.5.
Tumepanga kwamba mwaka huu kutoka 6.5 tusonge na 1 ili tufikie 7.5. Na hii 7.5 haiwezi patikana tu, lazima ifanyiwe kazi. Na mambo ambayo tumeyapanga kama idara ni kwamba silabasi iweze kutamatishwa mapema na ikizidi mwezi wa 5. Na juhudi ambazo walimu wanafanya ni juhudi ambazo ni kubwa, na bila shaka swala hili litatendeka. Aidha, tumeondoa ufundishaji wetu kutoka katika hali ya mwalimu kushughulikia kila kitu hadi kwa mwanafunzi. Kwa Kiingereza tunasema we have decentralized learning from teacher centered to student centered.
Okay, my name is Raquel Aurelia Banefo, the school captain of St. Cecilia Nangina Girls, a school located in Funyula, Busia County. It's really a beautiful school in terms of cleanliness, in terms of teachers, and it's a really academic center and a school of excellence and a school of quality. After completing my secondary school, I'd like to be a nurse and study in Canada, so I can get more information in terms of medicine.
For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Rida carrying Chebet. Well, folks, let's now shift gears to matters agriculture, and let me usher in our Kilimo Chapa.
Kilimo Chapa.
In Kilimo Chapa today, we will learn more about the common chicken diseases, the poultry diseases, symptoms, and how to treat most of these chicken sicknesses, as well as how to prevent chicken diseases. Another disease is Marek's disease, another particularly nasty one of the common chicken diseases. This is extremely contagious and can be caught by inhaling dead skin cells or dust from the feathers of other birds. It is more common in younger birds that are usually under the age of 20 weeks. Symptoms usually include paralysis of the legs and wings. In the classical form of Marek's disease, the affected chickens lie on their side with one leg stretched backward and the other leg stretched forward. In the acute form, many chickens die suddenly without showing any signs of illness, while some chickens show paralytic symptoms and appear depressed before dying. Other signs include paleness, loss of weight, shrunken comb, and diarrhea. This is particularly nasty viral disease that barely leaves any survivors, and those that do survive will carry the disease for life. It usually affects chicks, so keep an eye out for tumors and the loss of movement from any limbs. Also, watch out for the skin going gray and your chicken not showing any response to light. There are no effective treatment options. Instead, a vaccine can be given to chicks when they first hatch. However, other farmers have reported that drugs such as aliseril, Nemovit, Teranox, and Virakill have helped them save their birds from dying. Thrush. You may not think of thrush as one of the chicken skin diseases, but this fungal infection, thrush or candidiasis, as it is officially called, can be picked up from moldy food and can also be picked up from contaminated water. Signs and symptoms include white oozy substance inside the crop of infected chickens, increased appetite than normal, lethargic appearance, crusty vent, and ruffled feathers, as well as overeating. As with all diseases, if symptoms go unchecked, it can become dangerous, but this one is pretty easy to address. Feeding probiotics as a supplement or in a form like yogurt can be very helpful, and an antifungal medication from the vet is a quick and effective solution as well. Obviously, removing the source of the mold is also imperative, as the fungus can otherwise be re-ingested. Air sac disease or chronic respiratory disease, CRD. CRD is a mycoplasmal disease caused by Mycoplasma gallispecticum, and it affects the respiratory tracts, including air sacs of chicken and other birds. CRD can be transmitted through hatching eggs, direct contact with carrier birds, and through inhalation of contaminated droplets, dust, or feathers. However, it can be picked up from other birds, even wild birds, and it can be transferred from a hen that has it to her chick through the egg. This disease first appears in the form of poor laying skills and a weak chicken. As it progresses, you will notice coughing, sneezing, breathing problems, swollen joints, and possibly death. Now, there is a vaccine for this illness, and it can be treated with an antibiotic from the vet. Chronic respiratory disease, also known as mycoplasmosis, can be treated with several antibiotics: tylosin, oxytetracycline, streptomycin, neomycin, among other related drugs such as Respimt, Coloxan, Doxin, Interflox, and Coniflox can be used to treat chronic respiratory disease or mycoplasmosis. Another common disease is Newcastle disease. Newcastle disease, also known as Ranhet disease, is a viral disease that is caused by paramyxoviruses. You will begin to see breathing problems, discharge from their nose, their eyes will begin to look murky, and their laying will stop. Also, it is common that the bird's legs and wings will become paralyzed, as well as their necks twisted. This disease is carried by other birds, including wild birds. That is how it is usually contracted. However, if you touch an infected bird, you can pass it on from your clothes, shoes, and other items. But still, the good news is that older birds usually will recover, and they are not carriers afterward. But most baby birds will die from the disease. With very harmful paramyxoviruses, the first sign is sudden death. Other signs like weakness, depression, greenish diarrhea, lying down, swelling of the face, and nervous signs will also be observed. twisting of the neck, leg paralysis, aching of the body are some other indications of Newcastle disease. In layers, laying of soft-shelled or shell-less eggs is an early sign, followed by totally halting of egg laying. Moderately harmful paramyxoviruses are responsible for severe respiratory problems. In adult chickens, there is usually obvious decline in egg production for many months. However, the mortality rate is low. The mildly harmful paramyxoviruses may not cause any disease or just a mild respiratory problem. There is no treatment at this point, so the virus must be left to run its course. However, this is a serious enough disease that at least in the US, you report it if you suspect your chickens have the disease. Another disease is mushy chick disease. What a charming name. Officially known as omphalitis, mushy chick is a disease that infects new chicks shortly after hatching. However, in the short time between hatching and healing, the larva can become infected if it comes in contact with a dirty environment such as soiled eggs, unclean hatching boxes, which can lead to infection. Some symptoms to look out for are irritated, slightly blue midsection when the chicks hatch. They are also usually rather weak. The disease is transmitted via direct contact with a contaminated animal or object, and because the chick has an undeveloped immune process, it cannot fight off the infection. There is no vaccine for this disease, although sometimes antibiotics will work, and in some cases antibiotics do not always work. However, usually when you come in contact with this disease, you will need to immediately separate your healthy chicks from the sick ones. The treatment options for mushy chick remain limited. Pulloram disease or salmonellosis. Pulloram disease is a bacterial disease that is caused by a bacterium called Salmonella pulloram. This viral disease attacks different birds differently. In older birds, you may see them coughing and struggling to lay eggs. However, in chicks, you frequently don't see any symptoms, meaning some die completely unexpectedly. But when they do display symptoms, it is usually a compromised respiratory way or white paste across their back. Today, there exists no treatment option for pulloram. The disease is highly contagious and affects the blood of chicken, but characterized by white diarrhea. This is the reason why pulloram disease is also called bacillary white disease. It can be transmitted through the eggs, contaminated feed, water, litter and feces. Whilst there have been ramblings about a vaccine, as it currently stands, chicken will need to be killed if they display symptoms to prevent others catching the disease. Several antibiotics can be used to treat pulloram disease. However, furazolidone is recommended. Pulloram disease can be controlled by good biosecurity measures and ensure you procure your chicks from a reputable hatchery.
Kilimo Chapa.
Well, I hope you've learned something there on matters agriculture. Stay tuned for more of these in our daily bulletins. That is Maisha Prime News every Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. and 9 a.m. But now let's shift focus to our business feature, My Hustle, My Life, My Story.
With the rise of the purpose-driven consumer, there is a mindset shift which has caused the e-commerce goods to break into the mainstream market. There is no doubt that we live in an era of rapid transformation. In the last half a decade, new and second-hand household goods shop has been an intrinsic part of Steven, driving change across the Bungoma e-commerce industry.
Mimi naitwa Kata Steven. Biashara yenye tunafanya kwa tunauza second hand. nanunua na kuuza second hand. So kuna vitu kama sofa set, kuna vitanda, kuna mattresses, kuna ufa, ma TV, kuna pia tunapatiana instant cash. Yes.
So this is rather like now alone in
tunapatiana instant cash kidogo at least kitu kama emergency cash. Bora kama kumsea kuna asset na kama security. So tunapatiana loan kidogo at least kama source of income kwa mtu mwenye yako na biashara ndogo, ama pengine kama ako na emergency, hiyo cash ina kama inamsaidia. Yes.
Na historia hii biashara ni gani?
Background information ya this ya second hand ni entrepreneur, yani tukua tu na ile creativity ya kuja na idea, tukakuja na idea ya second hand kwa sababu hapa town na biashara mingi. So hii ya second hand at least ni kitu yenye iko unique. So wakati tunafanya biashara ya second hand tukapata kwa market tuna prosper kidogo. So ukiangalia kama TV maufa at least iko cheap kidogo, unacheck consider na compare na ile asset mpya hizo ziko juu kidogo. So second hand inakuwa cheap, so it's affordable for customers.
In mastery of the subtle art of pricing, Stephen does his general value evaluation and marketing. He says 3 employees have so far graced his venture.
Second hand competition kwa chini kidogo. No. Hii town maduka za second hand ziko chache. Alafu compare duka za mpya ziko mingi sana. So ile competition ya kuuza new assets or new TVs or electronics iko juu. So kwa second hand consider first of all ni affordable. Kitu ya pili unapata iko tu, so unacheki. So at least customers wanakuwa unapata customers kwa urahisi. Kwa na mpya ambayo iko mashine za electronics iko mingi down. Yep.
Prices zako wewe uvaluaje? Kwa sababu hizo zile brand new products they usually priced expensively compared to vile utauza the second hand product. So what determines your pricing?
Kitu ya kwanza yafaa kwa very unafanya research ya hali ya juu. Naangalia online wanauza aje mpya, wholesale ya TV kwa aje. So ukienda kubuy second hand unafanya hiyo consideration, unaona hii nikibuy pesa fulani at least nikiuza hivi sitakuwa nimepitisha sana, ama sitakuwa nimefinya sana customer, pia customer hajalifinya sana. So wewe unafanya hiyo consideration kwa value nini kwa revaluation. So ukiangalia revaluation ya hiyo asset yenye unabuy second hand at least ikifaa bei fulani, alafu unaona unaweza yani unafanya ile projection, unaweza uza pesa fulani, ukibuy pesa fulani unaweza kuuza pesa fulani. So at least usiuze bei kali sana kushinda mtu ama wholesale ya mtu asema. Alafu pia unafanya research ya market yenye ya trend. Yeah.
Good. Now Steve, nataka turudi nyuma kidogo. Hii biashara ulianza lini na growth yake imekuwa aje hadi leo?
Ni busy meka almost 5 years in market so far. Progress iko sawa. Iko sawa. Na most definitely tukianza busy na pole lakini after sometimes na grow.
Yes. Ukianza na bidhaa kama ipi? Magani?
Unajua ukianza shop unaanza na vitu chache tu, unaweza anza hata na TV moja, kwa mbili, but with the time na grow depending on the capital na ile bidii pia unafanya kwa job. Yes.
So mimi nataka kujua ni aje ukaanzisha hii biashara, kwa sababu you mentioned una sell second hand, which means unadependia customer later. So customer walikuwa wameleta ndio kaona acha ni value hizi vitu ama kulikuaje?
Kuna kitu inaitwa marketing. Yes. Marketing strategy. Yeah. So once people wakati unafungua shop ya second hand unaanza kumarket hiyo duka second hand. So wakati utamarket watu wajua watakuwa wanaleta tu. Yeah. So wakati watakuwa wanaleta it's easy, inakuwa nyepesi, lakini ukianza inakuwa vigumu kidogo. Yeah.
I know that employment has been a very big challenge in this country. Yes. Have you managed to employ anybody?
First, yeah.
Ama projection yako ni gani?
Tuko na employees, tuko nao. Tuko nao kama watatu. Yes.
Alafu turudi tena nyuma kidogo, ukianzisha initial capital yako ilikuwa kama ngapi hivi na ukaipata aje?
Capital ni services tu. Alafu kuna donations, kuna nini, unaweza chukua ka soft loan, unaona. So ni ile basically tu hiyo savings tu. Si lazima uanze job na pesa mingi. Unaweza anza na ile kidogo uko nayo.
As COVID impacts loom, COVID largely affected Stephen's business, shifting the customer growth. His secret, he says, lies on reducing expenses and staying validly creative.
Yeah.
Na ukienda mbele nini unatarajia?
So ukienda mbele, si unajua ukiregister shop inakuwa na license. So unaweza apply loan, ukapatiwa loan, boost stock kidogo, na hivyo ndo kugrow. Yes.
So you target thriving on loans?
Not really, but it's part of financing capital.
Now hiyo model ni sustainable kweli?
Yeah, so quite sometimes. Nategemea, unajua kama ni bank nimelipa kwa year, so na busy kwa poa pia inarudisha. Yes.
Kwa hivyo ukienda mbele hii biashara umesema imekuwa hapa for 5 years. Yes. Now it's doing well. Yes, there are challenges. Especially the last 2 years we've had COVID-19. Ime shift with kidogo vile mna run business models zenu.
Most definite, COVID may affect economy worldwide, countrywide, regional wide, may affect in one way or the other. So kuna ile sales zimerudi chini kidogo, wasome kosa do. So pia directly or indirectly inaku affect kama business person, but nilikwambia mwanzo unakuwa creative at least kuweza run kwa hiyo market.
Yes. So far siri yako ni gani iko enable to stay kwa market for that long? Niliambiwa mtu akihit the second year of business they must be really doing well.
Siri ya biashara. Siri ya biashara ni reduce expenses na kukuwa creative. At least tuna increase income. Yeah.
Kwa hivyo ni benefits gani unazosema umepata kwa hii biashara?
Sasa hiyo ni private kidogo, lakini ziko. At least ukiona unajua ina improve lifestyle, ina improve living standard, at least unacheki. Basically,
Stephen hopes that the youth remain competent and understand they have to be ready to take risks.
Kitu ya kwanza in business lazima kuwa risk averse. Yaani ujitolee kuwa risk. Yaani akisi ufanye kitu hata lazima kuwe, yaani ujitolee kufanya kitu yenye ni unique. Tu kuwa competent, tegemea Mungu na vitu zitakuwa poa. Our smart TV. We normally sell new and second hand. So tuko na TV 40 inch, 50 inch, 43, 32, 19 mpaka 17. So hizo ndio vitu tuko na woofer, home theaters, tuko na fridge, tuko na masofa, tuko na bed, tuko na vitu mingi. Yeah.
Alafu pia utuambie iko located wapi? Location
ya shop ya Maximax Household. It's Maximax Household. Iko located Oldrex alongside the road from Futu Road. Kutoka Cooperative. For the place Oldrex Lubakaya Plaza. Yes.
Maisha Television, my hustle, my story, Brian Gad.
Well, my hustle, my life, my story brings us to the end of Maisha Prime News, the bulletin that comes to you every Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. and 9 a.m. Until next time, my name is Rida Chebet.